Well, hello there. It's me, Stu, here for you. And today we're going to be talking about transitioning from one-on-one client work, whether it be as a coach or a consultant, to a far more leveraged business model that allows you to, one, generate more money, two, do it with less time, and three, impact a whole lot more people. So if you are in a position where you are doing a lot of one-on-one consulting or a lot of one-on-one coaching, then I definitely want to encourage you to listen in here today, because we're going to talk about how to make that transition and how to free up more of your time, generate a lot more revenue, and certainly, and most importantly, impact a heck of a lot more people. So before I dive into this, I want to share a couple examples of where this has kind of played itself out. One is a gentleman by the name of Clint Salter. So if you know Clint, he's just a very charismatic, amazing guy. And Clint used to do a lot of one-on-one coaching and consulting. In fact, at one point, he had as many as 140 individual clients that he was serving in a given year. And he helps dance studio owners. So people who own dance studios, Clint shows them how to grow those studios and really blossom it into a highly profitable business. But the problem is that he was, just slammed, because it was like he would go from client to client to client to client. And he was always on this treadmill of like finding new clients, onboarding new clients, coaching new clients, and then, repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And he was just burnt out. And so ultimately, he transitioned to a membership site, which has allowed him to serve a heck of a lot more people. So he's gone from serving 140 people to thousands of people. He's reclaimed a whole bunch of his time, and he's certainly now been able to make a lot more money with it. Another great example of this is Ginger Dean. So Ginger is a psychotherapist, and this, up until last year, the way in which she had been serving people is one-on-one, and she would meet 8 to 9 clients per day, and then typically 3 to 4 clients at night. And she was working anywhere between 12 to 14 hours a day, and she had been doing this for over 6 years. Okay. Now, what she helps people with, she specifically helps women who are looking to transition out of a toxic relationship. And she really helps them create healthy relationships, right? And that's her area of specialty. So long story short, she was just burnt out in a very similar way. And I think anybody who's doing a lot of one-on-one work can really understand where the tension comes from. Because in one hand, you do the work because you love and care and want to support people. On the other hand, you're feeling burnt out, stressed out, and you're feeling maxed out in terms of how you can grow the business and how you can support people. Because the only way to grow is to give more time, and you don't have any more time to give, right? This was exactly the situation that Ginger was in. So long story short, Ginger had started an Instagram account called Loving. I wrote it down here. Loving Me After We. That's it. Loving Me After We. So she started this Instagram account called Loving Me After We. And when she transitioned to a membership site, she made a post on her Instagram account. So she didn't do like a big fancy whiz bang launch or anything of that nature. She did a founding member launch by making a post on her Instagram account. Well, long story short, she created a whole bunch of momentum from that. And she began with 300 to 400 members, and then that grew to 700 to 800 members. And when she hit the 900 member mark, and by the way, she started this just over a year ago. So I want to give you some perspective in terms of like, how much has happened in such a relatively short period of time. So when she hit the 900 member mark, that's when she decided to resign from her job and commit full time to her membership. And now she is over 1,300 women that she gets to serve on a regular basis. And not only is she serving more women, but she has gained back so much of her time. When we last spoke with her, she was just talking about how she now has a social life. Like she can actually engage with her friends and connect with her friends. She has time for that. And then she also talked about the revenue that's generated. And so what's amazing is just over a year, she has launched this membership, and now at the point is generating $40,000 to $50,000 a month with that membership. This is what's possible. This is what's possible. What did both Clint and Ginger do? They transitioned from one-on-one work to serving so many more people in a far more leveraged way in a membership. And not only did they claim back time, but they generated more revenue. So they're able to help more people. They're generating more revenue and with a lot less time. And even more than that, it's scalable, right? Like, whereas in a one-on-one model, it's very hard to scale that because the only way you can scale is by giving more time. And if you're already maxed out, you got no more time to give, right? So what the membership does is it provides you the ability, whether it's 500,000, 50,000, it's a scalable model that allows you to grow. So how do you make that transition? Well, the first thing that I want you to understand is that inside of a membership, it's not about loading people up with a whole bunch of content, because the number one reason that people cancel from a membership, and it doesn't matter what market we're talking about here, because I've had the honor of being able to serve literally tens of thousands of different membership site owners and business owners in all kinds of different markets, from photography and calligraphy to fitness and finance and music and art and health and dog training and so many more. There are literally endless numbers of markets that we have been able to serve. And again, the number one reason across the board that people cancel from a membership is overwhelm. They're just not using it, right? So the goal for you and I, when we are looking to create a membership, is not to load people up with a whole bunch of content, because that's not why they are there. The reason that they are there is speed and ease. Speed and ease. So what do I mean by that? Well, it first starts with helping your members get clear on the journey. This is something that we in Tribe call the success path. And the success path is really important, because what it does is it maps out the journey that somebody is on, and it gives them clarity in terms of what they should focus on now. So the danger of somebody coming into a membership with a whole bunch of content is that they get overwhelmed trying to think through, like, well, what's relevant for me? Like, what should I focus on? What should I do? And there's so much uncertainty there. And when there's uncertainty and they feel overwhelmed, that's what leads them to leaving the membership. So one of the best things that you can do right from the get-go is not create a whole bunch of new content, but first and foremost, create a success path. Where are they now? Where do they want to be? And what are the stages that somebody would go through to go from where they are to where they want to be? So first, it starts with creating a success path. And we can go into more detail about that in another video, but it's that creating that vision for the journey that they are on and helping them get clear about where they are on that journey. Second thing that I would encourage you to think about as it relates to crafting your membership is just getting clear about the two types of content. When somebody joins a membership, the first type of content that you're going to share with them is what we call your core content. So think of this as the content that gets everybody up to speed, the content that helps cast that vision, the content that helps them identify like where they are on that journey and what they should be focusing on. But the overarching purpose behind that content is to get everybody on the same page. And this is not a big, long, comprehensive thing. Generally, what we recommend is it's several videos of 3 to 5 minutes long that somebody's going to go through fairly quickly, but it's going to bring them up to speed and have a clear understanding of what this journey looks like and where they are on that journey and how you and the membership are going to support them in making progress. So core content is the first piece. The second piece is your monthly content. Now, monthly content is going to vary based on the type of membership that you have. There are different types of memberships. There are obviously product-based memberships, service-based memberships, knowledge-based memberships, community-based memberships. And then within that, like particularly in the knowledge-based memberships, there's even more types. Like there's a publisher model, there's the UPS model, there's the drip model. There's all these different types of memberships, right? But based on that, it will determine how much monthly content you will provide. But I will give you this general rule of thumb, okay? If you have a knowledge-based membership where you're teaching people how to master a skill or overcome a problem, you never want to provide more than an hour's worth of content per week, okay? So if you get beyond 60 minutes of content per week, now what's happening is you're going to be loading them up with a lot of information, and you're not creating any space and time for them to be able to implement that information. So if you're beyond more than an hour of content per week, it's too much. You got to scale back. And when I talk about primary piece of content, I'm talking about like lessons that you're going to be teaching. And you got to remember that you've got to make time for both learning time and implementation time. Learning time and implementation time. And if you don't create space for the implementation time, guess what's going to happen? People are going to get loaded up with a whole bunch of information. They're going to learn a lot, but they're not going to do anything with it. And the long-term success of your membership, my membership, depends on our members making progress. And the only way they should make progress or can make progress is if they have time to be able to implement. And so if you start embarking on more than an hour of content per week, you're now in competition with so many other things that they've got going on in their life, right? Like I've got 2 young kids, so, we've got gymnastics, we've got swimming, we've got skiing, we've got all these things that, now it creates a tension, a point of tension. Where am I going to squeeze in the extra time to not only learn, but to also implement? And that creates tension, and that tension prevents people from implementing and getting the best results. So more than anything, what I would encourage you to do is to really keep in mind when you're structuring your content, like I'm not here to load people up with a whole bunch of things to do. What I'm here to do is I'm here to give people clarity on the right things to do right now based on where they are on their journey. And I want to create space for them not only to learn what to do, but to implement what it is that we are teaching. Obviously, I'm summarizing on a high level content strategy. We unpack this, in much, much more granular detail. But the bottom line is that, like, when we are thinking about making that transition from working with people one-on-one to working with people inside of a membership, number one, we want to be able to cast that vision. What does that journey look like? Give your people the clarity of how to go from where they are to where they want to be. And what are the stages that someone will go through in order to make that journey? Second thing I want you to think about are the 2 types of content. There's your core content. This is content that every member is going to consume when they become a member. And it brings them up to speed in terms of like what it is that you're teaching, the purpose behind it, the journey that they're going to be on. It sets the stage. It frames up the membership experience. And it's really important that your members go through that, because that framing of the experience will set them up for success. The second type of content is your monthly content. And just from experience, working with tens of thousands of business owners and membership site owners, what I will tell you is you don't, as a general rule of thumb, you don't want to exceed more than an hour's worth of content per week. If you do, you start to create tension with your members, because now you're competing for their time with everything else that they got going on. Because we've got to remember, it's not just learning time, it's also implementation time. So more often, I err on the side of less content and more implementation time and support them in that. So I think about Ginger, who we talked about earlier. We'll be sharing with you a little more backstory of Ginger and how she's been able to do what she's done recently. But in it, one of the things that she talks about is how she made that transition. What she noticed was when she was working with clients one-on-one, they were typically going through a similar journey and dealing with similar challenges and asking similar questions. So she just got very intentional about listening. So while she's working with her clients, instead of just responding in the moment, she was also making record of like, what are these challenges and what is coming up and what is preventing people from making progress? And she started observing as well as advising. And in that, she started to see that there was a pathway in which people were going through to get from where they are to where they want to be. And it became obvious how to begin creating content around the experience that she was having with serving her clients. And so if you are in that one-on-one situation where you're working one-on-one with as a coach or as a consultant, one of the things that I would encourage you to do is just use this time to be really observant about what are the challenges that your people are facing, and how are you advising them to manage and deal with those challenges, and being observant of your own responses to questions that are coming out, etc., so that you can begin mapping out that journey, as well as generating a ton of ideas for content based on where people are on their journey. So it's not to say that all your experience in working one-on-one is going to be lost and thrown out the window. Au contraire, my friend. It's actually going to be one of the most valuable things is being able to be in the trenches with those clients. Gives you an incredible, intimate, hands-on feel for what is happening, and more importantly, will greatly influence the success path that you create and the content that you deliver inside of that membership. But here's what I will say. I have never been more passionate about memberships and the importance and the role that they play for us as business owners. Because in the past year, if it's taught us anything, it's just that we never know what can happen. But when you have stability coming in from recurring revenue in a membership, it changes the way in which you and I move forward with our businesses. And that stability creates more opportunity for you and I to grow and to be able to have the comfort of knowing that no matter what happens, we're going to be okay and our families are going to be okay, and that we're able to serve a heck of a lot more people. Think about Ginger, who was seeing 8 to 9 clients a day, 3 to 4 in the evening, and she was repeating that process day in and day out, working 12 to 14 hours a day, but there was still a limit on the number of people that she could work with. Now inside of our membership, she's working with more than 1,300 plus women every single day. So she's having more impact, helping more people, and she's doing it in a far more leveraged way that's created more time for her. So she's not working 12 to 14-hour days anymore, and she's generating a heck of a lot more revenue. At $40,000 to $50,000 a month in revenue. So I share this because if you're working one-on-one, I want you to realize and understand that there's a huge opportunity for you to be able to help more people, save more time, and make a heck of a lot more money with memberships. So if you got questions about memberships, one of the things I'd encourage you to do is go pick up our free guide. You can do that by going to gettribeguide.com. In this, I answer the 10 most popular questions I get asked about memberships literally every single day. And we included a whole variety of different examples, which will get the creative juices flowing for you in terms of how to take what you're already doing and turn it into a profitable membership. You can get that for free at gettribeguide.com. And when you do, you're going to see, like I said, a ton of great examples of how others have taken what they've already done, turned it into memberships, and the type of membership that they've created and how they continue to serve their people. So thanks for jumping on. thanks for listening. If you got questions, I encourage you to go get the guide at gettribeguide.com. And in the meantime, just keep moving forward, my friend, because as entrepreneurs, one of the greatest things that we get to do is we get to serve a whole lot of people. And I don't ever take that for granted. And I know you don't either. And it's the thing that, creates opportunity not only for us, but for the people that we get to serve. And so just keep moving forward, my friend, no matter what comes your way. And just know that recurring revenue, oh my gosh, is it a lifesaver in terms of the stability that it creates? And that's why I want it for you. So go to gettribeguide.com. It's all free. And I'll look forward to supporting you on your journey. You're awesome. Take care. Bye-bye.